Well, it's the opening ceremony of the African nation.
Confined to within our studio.
A tenth as long.
It's profile time.
Of course, it's that time of the night.
It is that time of the night. Roberto Carlos.
Oh, what's his full name?
Roberto Carlos da Silva Rocha.
Oh, good.
Yeah, the big-thighed man is coming in. But first, I must tell you a few things. He was born on April 10th, 1973.
6 years.
Yep.
After the Summer of Love for new listeners.
Roberto Carlos. Would you call him a living legend? Would you go as far as say legend?
He's on the old Pelé best 125 living
Must be
footballers.
then.
Yeah.
Must be.
I would.
A fantastic...
Still gets a giggle.
I think he's a living legend. You know why? Because he's about to become a Dean Windass Hall of Fame entrant. That's why.
Right answer. You get the points.
Thanks.
Roberto Carlos began his professional career playing for União Sao Paulo UAL, a bit of a tricky one, but they're based in Sao Paulo. Not one of the bigger teams, as I'm sure we haven't heard of them.
Need to sort their name out.
They do.
Oh, don't judge him. Yeah.
Well, you know, it's important. Brand awareness.
Right, Kenyan. Kenyan would know, would he?
But if I may, but even though he was playing for one of the smaller sides, he still got a Brazilian national team call-up.
Oh, yeah.
So he was in there from quite a young age. He moved then to Palmeiras, and that's when he really started to get recognised.
Palmeiras were a decent side, they definitely were then as well.
That's right, and he won 2 consecutive league titles with them. Sorry, he was at Athletic Mineiro for a very brief time in between there. He had a good time playing in the Brazilian leagues, and he was there for around about 5 years. So, you know, he earned his stripes, if you like, and he got himself a move to Inter. I think that's when we all kind of were switched on to this guy.
What year did he move to Inter, Marcus? I'm interested.
He went to Inter in 95.
Yeah.
I forgot he was even there.
Yeah, Hodgson was in charge.
Yeah.
He was there. Paul Ince was, of course, playing.
Yeah.
And he put in some good performances for Inter. He became, as I say, quite the player that we all kind of know now.
I think it was more common for Brazilians to at least play a little bit more in their home country. I mean, because he would have been about 22 when he moved to Inter. When you see him moving earlier and earlier these days, which is no good for Brazil, and it's no good for their development, I don't think, either.
That's right.
So he's learned a lot about the game, and at least sort of fully grown into an adult by the time he's moved over to Europe, which I think is important.
But he was only at Inter for really a season, and then he was off
Straight to Real
Madrid, where he was at for 11 years.
I mean, that's how we know him best.
Of course.
I mean, that is an incredible achievement to stay at that club for that amount of time.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
He was there for 11 seasons, and he played a total of 584 matches, scoring 71 goals.
Good.
You know, for a defender. Although, is he a wing back or is he a left back?
Could be a striker the way he plays.
If you talk to scholars of the South American game, especially in Brazil, they'll say that the traditional fullback role doesn't even exist in Brazil.
That's right.
So it's very difficult to call him a left back. You know.
Yeah.
He's obviously a very forward-minded player, and can we just say bags of pace?
Yeah.
Absolutely pacey. Yeah.
In 97, he was voted second best player in the world behind Ronaldo, who he played with at Real Madrid, of course. Two of them were Galacticos, one could say.
Can you not remember it was quite fashionable at one stage by certain people? I don't necessarily agree with this, but to say that, oh yeah, he's good going forward, but he's rubbish at the back.
Yeah.
He really wasn't.
No, he really
I can remember him.
Right.
Correct me if I'm wrong, you boys, but did he not play for Real Madrid against Manchester United?
Manchester United.
And when Beckham was in his pomp, and he kept him quiet, and they knocked him out, didn't they?
That was when a lot of people who were saying that kind of stuff thought, actually, yeah, he's pretty good at the back as
decent.
well.
Of course, I think he's obviously not a traditional defender, but it's one of those
Any
things.
defenders, any fullback that scores goals always gets that.
Right, okay, yeah.
It's good going
Danny
forward.
Alves gets it now.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing.
Danny Alves, just like we said when we saw him for Barca, basically has the entire side of the pitch to himself.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose
And bosses
Carlos,
it.
Yeah.
But Carlos was kind of like that, because McManaman used to play in front of him for a bit, but McManaman used to kind of drift all over the place, especially inside, and he wasn't left-footed, so he would tend to maybe drift inside, as I say. So Carlos used to just, don't worry, pal, I've got it all.
Maraud.
Well,
I'm marauding. Do what you want, because I am marauding.
Maybe that's why McManaman, when people said, he never quite did it for England.
Yeah.
Maybe because for England he had, Michael Gray or Phil Neville or something. Who, fair enough, they got their England caps, but he's sort of thinking,
Carlos is like saying to McManaman, Stevie Mac, do what you want, mate. El Macca, do what you want, because I am raping and pillaging down this flank. And you're either with me or you're against me, pal.
And he's not going to be against him, James, with the same jersey on anyway.
Yeah.
But we have to talk about that free kick he scored against France in Le Tournoi.
Yeah. Are we going into his international career already?
Well,
unprecedented.
We're just mixing it up.
Yeah, fair enough. That was a great hit.
Thanks.
The most overwhelming, memorable image of that goal was the ball boy who flinches.
Yeah.
About 20 yards away from him. I mean, there's been a lot said about that goal, but it was a magnificent hit.
That was a weird tournament to start with.
England won it. That's why it was weird.
but that just gave it something that was memorable. But it was such a mental tournament. Where did this come from?
Yeah, was it England, Brazil,
where
France?
has it gone?
Yeah.
Well, that's it. We won it, and everyone was like, "No, we can't have that." They'll be the holders next time.
It was a little warm up for the World Cup, wasn't it?
98 World Cup. Yeah, it was.
And that's why England didn't win the World Cup, because they'd already won Le Tournoi. They won the big one.
Yeah, exactly. At least it's like winning Queens is better than winning Wimbledon.
Yeah, they didn't want to win the winding down tournament afterwards. But no, that was a great hit from Roberto Carlos. He also, I think I'm right in saying it may not have been specifically that tournament, but around that time for Brazil, I remember him smashing a free kick from a long way out, and it hit the crossbar, and it flew out again. And when it came back in again, the crossbar was still moving. You could see like rain coming off it.
Yeah. When he for that free kick, they asked him, people were analysing it, going, well, it's because he's hit this side of the ball, and it's because he's done that. And
hit the valve or something.
Yeah, and they asked him, and he went, I don't know how I've done this. And he really did. He just admitted it.
He had a very distinctive run-up, didn't he?
Yes. A long run-up.
Yes.
But, I mean, have you got the stats on the size of his thighs? They were absolutely incredible.
Put both of his thighs together.
Yeah.
And then times that by 5.
Yeah.
And that's about the size of one
now,
of his.
take away a number you first thought of. Apparently his
Your
left...
favourite vegetable.
The report I read at the time, I'm not sure it's still the case, so I wouldn't want to cast aspersions on his dwindling thighs. I'm sure they're still very muscly. Even at the ripe old age of 37 or whatever he is. His left thigh was 32 inches. That was the report I read.
I think so, yes.
Yeah, which is, bigger than my waist. Almost.